Okay. So we are live. Yes, here we are. Okay. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to get this started. We're going to wait a couple more minutes until some people join us here. Awesome. Thank you all for joining. All right, cool. So we've got some people joining us here. Welcome, everybody. My name is Samai Mubarak, and I am thrilled. I'm so excited to be hosting this month's bot meetup, our virtual meetup. This is the first time in quite some time that we're getting together to discuss the big but quiet elephant in the room that is mental health and wellness among tech professionals and entrepreneurs. So it's a much needed conversation, one that I think we all know we don't have nearly enough, especially within our community and in our professional community. So BOT is on a mission to make that happen now. So I am so happy to also welcome and introduce three amazing panelists, three amazing experts in the health and wellness industry. I'm joined by Dr. Sheila Davis, our licensed mental health counselor, as well as Victor Hugo Escobar, our holistic nutrition expert, and of course, Mr. Bailey Brinson, our yoga, meditation, and mindfulness coach. So thank you all for joining me this evening.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
So as we wait for some more people to join us here, it would be great if you guys can kind of give our audience a little insight into who you are, what your area of expertise is, what you do on the day-to-day. So we'll start off with Dr. Sheila. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, as she said, my name is Dr. Sheila Davis, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor, a professor in psychology, and an author. And so I'm owner of a group practice. It was in Winter Park, but now with COVID and everything else, we've transitioned onto telehealth. And so we just deal with everything mental health. I personally specialize with women and couples. So I love helping them gain the tools for communication and all of those things so they can have a wonderful, lively, satisfying life.
Nice. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Victor, hi there. How are you?
Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Victor Escobar. I'm a retired combat veteran. I am also a registered dietitian and a soil science student currently at UCF. I'm the CEO of VidaPür Holistics. We run a catering business as well as an urban farm here out of Claremont, Florida. And we specialize in optimizing people's nutrition.
Awesome. All right, cool. And last but not least, Mr. Bailey.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bailey Brinson. I'm a healthy lifestyle expert. I help people become happier, stronger, and healthier day by day by using yoga and meditation. I specialize in yoga for beginners. So if you've never practiced yoga before, you think, oh, I'm not strong enough, I'm not flexible, I specialize in teaching you how to begin your practice.
Nice.
Very, very cool. So I think the best part, what I'm most excited about through this conversation is the fact that we have so many diverse perspectives, right? Like everyone has a different specialty, but they are very compatible with one another as it relates to how we protect and also improve and optimize our mental health. So thank you all for joining me today. Everyone, our panelists have a ton of tangible tips for you to take away for all of us to take away really and start doing tonight. So thank you all for joining us as well. The overall aim of tonight's event is really to start to normalize the conversation around mental health and wellness. That's huge. It's something that affects all of us on the day-to-day, but something that's not talked about nearly enough. So we want to make sure that we're spreading this around as much as possible. So if you know of any hardworking friends that you have who could really benefit from this information, please share, like, comment below. It also helps if you just say hello in the comments. More people will see it. So feel free to interact with us throughout this session. How it's going to flow is each one of our experts here are going to lead many discussions around their area of expertise that all relate to how we optimize our mental health as professionals, tech professionals, entrepreneurs. So thanks for joining us along on the ride, and let's kick things off. So Dr. Sheila Davis, can you kick things off for us with just an overview of mental health and wellness, what the challenges are, and where we go from here?
Okay. So I have a presentation that I was going to do. That way we can just, look at it in totality. So it's up on the screen. And so I titled this The Hidden Cost of Entrepreneurship. Really what they don't tell you. All right. So there's a couple of things I want us to look at. I introduced myself and I told you that I'm a licensed mental health counselor and I've had over 25 years of clinical experience. And so I worked at I'm just going to tell you just a brief, my journey. I worked at different places, as many people might have done. I've worked with children, I've worked with couples, I worked in juvenile facilities as directors and all of that. And so I found, I was working for someone else. And during that journey, I kind of thought about, I really want to work for myself at some point. But I was a little too scared. So I stayed on the job. I stayed getting paid. And I just kind of got into that rut. But then something happened. I know I'm not alone. I got laid off. Just suddenly the whole department, they laid the whole department off. And so I was left with a decision, whether I was going to continue seeking other jobs so that I can get paid and that I would be working for somebody else, or I can start my own journey. I could start, my private practice that I've always wanted to do. So I had a journey. I had to figure out what I was going to do. So I asked myself, well, what is this, entrepreneurial world looks like? So I started asking around. I asked some private practice owners. I started asking other entrepreneurs in general. And this is what I got. This is what they told me, that, there's so many positive things about it. I can set my own schedule. I can work for myself. I can pick the clients that I wanted. I can create the career that aligns with what I wanted to do. I can learn so much more. And it was exciting. I could meet people. I can have all these experiences and I can just grow. And so that sounded very exciting to me. I loved everything about it. I heard everything I heard about it. And then I made this decision that I was finally ready to take that leap. So I took it. I took the leap and I dove right in. And this quote kind of stood out to me because that's exactly how I felt. The entrepreneurial journey starts with jumping off a cliff and assembling an airplane on the way down. Right?
Right.
Am I alone in this?
Not at all.
It was like, wait a minute, all those positive things that they were telling me about, I was like, yes. And then when I took that leap, And I got on the other side. It was a wake-up call for me. I mean, there was some things that I had to really look at. Let's see. Where's the next one? So this is what I, started saying to myself. The key to a successful business really depends on the state of your mental health. You cannot succeed in business if your mind is not straight. Is anybody okay? Anybody else? I can't see you succeeding in business without a good, healthy mind. You can't think, you can't operate, you can't do, a lot of things. So your mental health is very, very important. So this is the thing. I call it the psychological challenges of entrepreneurship. So as we saw, there's so many positives. There's so many benefits to being an entrepreneur. However, there's one thing that we do not talk about often or we don't hear often, and those are the challenges that you face when you get into this world, right? So if you're heading into entrepreneurship, get ready for some mental health challenges. That's what I said. Get ready for some mental health challenges. Sooner or later, you're going to face off with either anxiety, you're going to face off with some type of depression. At some point, things are going to go awry and you're going to be questioning what you're doing. So the importance of taking care of your mental health is not given enough attention. So one thing I wanted to say, and I think you touched on it earlier, is that there's this stigma around taking care of your mental health, right? There's this thing, I hear it all the time, why, I'm not going to a therapist because, what are they going to tell me? What, I already know everything. So why, so it goes down this stigma of it's not okay to say that I need help, So I don't say that entrepreneurship comes at a psychological price, because I don't think it's a negative thing. Rather, your mental health is really just a part of the journey. So if you're going to go into this entrepreneurship world, then you have to accept that there's going to be some mental health challenges that you have to face and you have to address. If not, it's going to get bigger and bigger and other things start happening. So you just got to acknowledge that there's some cost and there's some challenges that comes along with the benefits. Mm-hmm. So this is what I think there's like a couple things that get in our way, and I call it the super mentality. This is the superhero complex to me. There's some things that, how we look at dealing with our businesses. So the superhero mentality of entrepreneurship. So we have this mentality that we can do it all, right? We can wake up 4:30 in the morning, 5:30, sleep for only 4 hours, have this packed schedule from morning to night. We work without eating, or if we do eat, it's like 15 minutes, scarfing it down. You finish your work, then you return home, you work some more, right? Mm-hmm. And then you got to take care of your family, spend time with your spouse. Your spouse wants to spend time with you. You're tired, and then we start up this whole rut all over again. So in the middle column, I really go over like what's really happening. What's really happening, right? We become irritable. Mm-hmm. We get cranky. We're not able to concentrate really. We have this kind of fogginess. Some people describe it as. Mm-hmm. Those tasks become unmanageable. It's almost like you're doing it, but you're on autopilot.
Become less productive. Less productive. I mean, you think you're getting things done, right? But really, it's not the best quality of work. So we're feeling miserable at times. And then our physical health starts taking a toll. Some people have heart attack, heart palpitations, headaches, upset stomach, insomnia,
For women, sometimes with that superwoman syndrome, you develop lupus or you have adverse birth outcomes. And so although we feel like we're doing really being successful in this area, it's affecting other areas, right? And then those things turn into depression, anxiety, burnout, and sometimes even shorten life expectancy.
Mm-hmm.
I read this article and it talked about, I'm trying to see, that if you worked over 45 hours, every hour exceeding an average of 48 hours per week shaves off about 2.5 hours off a person's life.
Oof.
Wow.
Right? And so some of the questions from this article was, is it worth it? Pretty much. Is it really worth it? I mean, you could be successful on one hand and be professional on one hand, but then you're still failing at life.
Right.
And does that really, matter? If you succeed, you want to succeed at being a good father, being a good husband, being a good wife, being a good friend, you want to succeed at things that are really, really bringing meaning to your life. Right.
Correct.
So how does this show up in the tech world and in your life? So entrepreneurs, we're high achievers from the beginning. And we live in a really pressure-filled kind of world, high pace. And it seemed like it's like high pace on a long-term kind of basis.
Long suffering.
Exactly.
It's like the never-ending ride of passage.
Never. Like with the roller coaster coming down.
Right.
So we're constantly feeling pressure. You feel pressure that you must do it all yourself. If it's going to get done, I got to do it. That mentality. So it's hard for us to ask for help. And we just have this mentality, like, if you want it done, you got to do it right. You got to do it yourself. So we don't delegate a lot. Let's see, you have extremely high expectations of yourself. You have this pressure that you have to constantly, create business ideas, products, services. You have these expectations from your spouse, your partner's family for you to succeed. They want to make sure you're bringing in funds as well. You have social media considerations, what problem solve, right? Oh yeah, we were just talking about that with social media, right?
Yeah.
Our brand and what we're gonna look like and all these pressures.
Yep.
We're problem solvers. Our families look to us for answers. Our employees look to us for answers, right? And then there's this self-neglect. So we're putting everything and everyone ahead of us, and then we're not really taking care of ourselves. So what does that do? It leads us straight into this area where we're beginning to suffer in silence.
Mm-hmm.
We suffer in silence. We become isolated. We feel like we have to have all the answers. And then once again, I talked to you about the stigma of therapy, So you have this thing of, what are they going to tell me that I don't already know? Therapy can't help me. What is she going to do?
This ain't really solving my problems.
Right.
When I leave this office, I'm going to feel the same exact way. I'm still going to have that issue.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of stigmas that come with it. But there's so much more of mental health and therapy than just talk. So when people leave my office, they're like, you know what? I left with some skills. Now, at least I have a plan. At least now I can, I know how to take care of myself. I'm beginning to ask for help. So now I don't feel as stressed. Those kind of things. There's so many benefits to it. So then let's look at this. There's mental health challenges in Black America and all over. But I want us to kind of like look at Black America for a minute. There's these 3 sections: depression, burnout, and anxiety that we're going to look at. But one of the things I want to say about depression is that not many people know that depression is really up there. Depression is like one of the top 5 reasons for, death or suicide and those kind of things. So that's up there, like with heart attacks, heart disease, those kind of things. So depression is huge. It's definitely affecting us. So here, Black and African-American communities and mental health. So 13.4% of the United States population identifies as Black or African-American. Now, of that 13.4, 16% of those have reported mental health issues in the past year. That's over 7 million Black people.
Wow.
7 million Black people. So they said that this is more than the populations of Chicago, Houston, and Philly, all combined.
Wow.
Right? I'm going to show you something else. So this, since 2019, and especially around the time after his name's George. What's the last name again? Floyd. Yes, thank you. They have noticed definite increase among Blacks who have, had some complaints or screened for positive anxiety or depression. So back in January through June in 2019, there was about 8% as far as Blacks are concerned that had some positive screening. Then in May to June 2nd, it went up to 34%, from 8 to 34% as far as anxiety is concerned. Then you have, as far as depression, it went from 8 to 30%. Anybody have any thoughts about like why this huge jump?
Quarantine.
Lots of jobs. People lost their jobs.
That definitely.
Yes.
Protests going on.
Yeah, exactly. The social aspect of things.
Definitely. Definitely. We got a lot on our shoulders. And, that plays into that superhero kind of syndrome that we talked about. That mentality is that we got to deal with it all. Some of it is given to us and some of it is not.
Yeah.
All right. Just moving on. The mental health crisis, the DAB. All right. So there's 3 things I like to cover: is depression, anxiety, and burnout. Things that you should look out for. I won't go through all of it, but depression, some big things. There's a persistent, sad, anxious, empty kind of mood. So all these symptoms doesn't mean you have it at the same time. It just means that if you have majority of these within maybe 2 weeks, then it's more than the normal sadness. So if it's lasting more than 2 weeks, that's a clue for you to say, wait a minute, this is not my normal self. Let me get some help. Feelings of guilt, hopelessness, your energy is depleted. You kind of slow down, or you're restless. You have trouble concentrating, making decisions. Indecisiveness is a huge one. You can't sleep, or you wake up early, or you wake up throughout the night. Your appetite is gone, or you're eating too much. You start gaining weight or losing weight rapidly. Thoughts of death, suicide. And then this is something that people really kind of brush to the side: headaches, cramps, digestive kind of problems. Because what happens is, and then with anxiety, let me do that first. Anxiety is that restlessness. You're all into the what ifs. Your mind is racing. You can't, calm it down. You're easily fatigued. You can't concentrate. You're irritable. And you worry a lot. You have sleep problems and restlessness. So with these two, lots of times, the first thing that people will do is go straight to their doctor. Right? I got this, doc, and I got this, I got that. And they can't find nothing wrong. It's stress. Right? Stress plays out in the body. Stress definitely plays out in your body. And that yoga, that Bailey's going to be talking about, and Victor's going to be talking about the eating part of it. is serious. This is part of the plan,
Mm-hmm.
because we neglect these areas. And burnout is in there too, because we'll feel that burnout. And sometimes with the depression, we just count it as working too much. But depression is a part of that burnout. Okay. So pay attention to these signs. And when you do, reach out. So what can I do? What can I do? First off, I say be intentional about creating time to take care of yourself. I was talking with someone, they were like, well, how do I do it? How do I do it? I have this, I have that, I have this, I have that. But we have to really make a commitment first to ourselves. That's number one. Everybody make a commitment to yourself that I'm going to take some time to take care of myself. So you can do some self-care kind of activities. You can, well, let me explain what self-care is. It looks differently for everybody. So it's an active role in protecting your mental well-being and being happy. So here's some things you can do. Find a supportive community like BOT. This is great. This is like, I mean, a lot of people in communities do not do this. They do not give you a safe place to say, you know what, I'm okay most of the time, but right now I'm not. For you to have that safe place to be like, we're all in it, we all stress,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a great thing. Get active, get outside, yoga, aerobics, jogging, swimming, walking. That's something I'm trying to do now with my little rings. Set up at least 20 minutes a day. Stimulate your brain, puzzles, card games, eat healthy. Victor's going to talk about that. Separate work from home. So this is one thing. Have a certain spot in your house, if you're working from home, that you can shut off, right? You can close that door, you can turn those lights off and leave it there. If you have a little space in your room and your desk is there, throw a blanket over it. Okay. Anything to disconnect work from home. If you're working outside your house, 20 minutes, give yourself 10 minutes, 20 minutes when you get home so that you can have that downtime. Meditation, deep breathing, and relax. And most of all, this is what I say, therapy.
Oh, I thought you were a lot of red wine.
Oh, might not hurt. But definitely therapy, reach out. And so I just thank you for your time. We have a group practice of a couple clinicians. We have male as well as female, and we do groups and different things, supplemental things to help and to actually, so you can leave with something, right, Victor?
That is correct, Dr.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Nice. Thank you so much, Sheila. I want to touch on a couple of things as well that you mentioned. Well, one being the latest thing that you mentioned about where you work. And of course, as we're like working more at home, well, yeah, all at home pretty much. We have to be careful about the associations that we connect with areas of our home. So like it's very easy, especially as an entrepreneur, to wake up and work in your bed.
Oh, yeah.
But that's no bueno. Right. Like your bed is supposed to be for sleeping and you have that connection with your bed. But when you start to work and then you associate the emotions that you have with your work with this place that's supposed to be relaxing, resetting for you, then you find you can no longer go to sleep.
That's right.
So I think that was an important point that you brought up. I wanted to highlight that as well. As we get ready to transition into the next session, I want to make sure that anybody who has any questions is able to ask. We have time for a couple questions just to keep us on schedule. If you have them, drop them in the comments. While we're waiting to see if anybody has any questions, Dr. Sheila, my question for you going back to your dad analogy, when it comes to actually identifying whether or not you have certain conditions, how do you know when something is a clinical issue versus something that can be addressed via therapy? Is that something that a therapist can help you sort out, or do you need to go consult a doctor for like medicines and things like that?
Okay, that's a very good question. I'm just going to pull up that slide. So there's things as far as like clinical depression or anxiety, right? So there's a level of anxiety that's just normal. Everybody gets, anxious about something, or you get down, you get sad, and you might be down for a couple of days, but that does not necessarily constitute clinical depression, right? So, as far as our how we diagnose is usually about 2 weeks or more. So this is letting you know, especially with depression, it's letting you know that this is a little beyond the just normal blues that somebody is experiencing. But one thing with therapy, and especially nowadays, is you do not have to be in this category of crazy. Okay, you don't. These are problems that get in your way of you functioning. So, like if you're having marital problems and that is something that is really affecting you, you're thinking about it at work, it's affecting you with your kids. That's getting in your way of functioning. So reaching out to a therapist to kind of get some skills to kind of move past that, definitely reach out. Don't wait. Don't try to diagnose yourself and then come on in. Let us do our work. And we'll let you know. But reach out, get some skills, get some coping mechanisms, and put it in place. Awesome. I say there's no reason to suffer in silence, honestly.
Yeah, it's too many of us going through similar things to suffer in silence, and too many people who do what you do. To address these common issues to suffer in silence. So thank you so much.
There was one more thing I just want to make everyone aware of, because some people are not aware of it. There's a thing as far as some companies that's called Employee Assistance Program, EAP. And that gives you the ability to have counseling services on the cost of someone of another company. Okay. They do not have access to your records. They do not have access. You don't even have to tell them, what this thing is all about. It's just, you call them, give them a brief kind of explanation. I like to have counseling for, because I'm feeling sad. And they give you 3 sessions, 5 sessions, 6 sessions, and so forth. And right now during COVID, a lot of the insurance companies are waiving the co-payment. So you can actually get counseling without paying anything.
Wow.
So, advantage of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Gina.
Awesome. So, all right. Thank you for that, Sheila. That was very, very helpful. I appreciate that. We all appreciate that. So moving on to our next discussion segment, and still related, we are going to hear from Victor Hugo Escobar. Victor, a little birdie once told me that our mental health is not only impacted by the experiences that we have, going on in our lives and what we feel and things of that nature, but it can also be determined by chemical, interactions and balances within our body.
Oh, most definitely.
Highly affected by what we put in it, right?
Exactly.
So, can you give us a little bit of insight from your area of expertise as to how food or nutrition impacts that part of our lives and our mind?
I would love to. So I want to thank Samaya and everybody else who's here with us discussing this panel today. And just to caveat off on a lot of what Dr. Davis had to say, we'll talk today about, how nutrition affects everything about you, not only just physically, mentally, emotionally, but how you cognitively react to things. A little bit of background from me, just so we're we're on the same page when it comes to the psychological effect of food. So I was a combat veteran for almost 15 years. I was unfortunately injured twice, and both times I was injured pretty bad to the point where I was hospitalized for a long time. Now I had sustained some trauma, and when I got out of the hospital, I was actually diagnosed with PTSD, stress disorder, anxiety, sleep disorder, apnea. So I know exactly what it's like to dismiss it. So, like I said, I wanted to touch bases on a lot of the things that Dr. Davis had to say regarding the mental state of people and how we sometimes ignore it, which is the reason why I became a registered dietitian nutritionist. So, and the reason why I'm following the program that I follow within my life as far as becoming an urban farmer and really living sustainably. So just a little bit more background. After I left the Marine Corps, I got my certificate as a registered dietetic nutritionist, and I'm currently going to school at UCF for looking to get to med school and the soil science department as well. So when it comes to nutrition, how does it affect you? We need to really understand what nutrition has made us as we are today as people through the evolution of time. You look at how we used to eat back during the caveman ages, if you would say. Nope, they couldn't go to the store and just eat a steak every day. They very much ate whatever they could and survived. And as people evolutionized through time, they found easier ways to maintain that nutrition and feel more adaptive to their surroundings. Where it came, they ate more, they had more, they progressed more. Okay. And throughout this time, people are not really interested on how food affects them, at all. It's just a feel good, sustainable. It's something to sustain you, something to give you energy, something to keep you going. It's something, a natural need, but without thinking of the true effect of it. So as we look at society today, and you look at a lot of the complications that people have, is because we as a generation of people have been systematically taught to eat conveniently.
That's true.
What is the most convenient thing for me right now, as far as what's going to take me the less time, effort, and energy to put something in my body? Quick and easy. If that was not the case, we would not have the type of health issues we have now within our community. And I'm speaking directly about the Black and Hispanic community. And we would not have the amount of fast food restaurants within less than 200 yards of each other.
200 yards.
Wow.
Literally, like you drive down Kirkman Road in Orlando, Florida, I guarantee you there's either a convenience store, a McDonald's, or a Burger King, or a Taco Bell, or a Panda Express, or some kind of fast food restaurant 200 yards from each other. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee. And how that affects us comes into play very importantly, because it's probably the last thing that we think about, how that it affects our mental state. When we think about our mental state, we think about, our mood. What was affected with our mood? Was it a situation or interaction, or, a specific situation at work, or just how you feel about, your overall view of how your life is at that moment? It never has to do with nutrition. It never has to do with that processed food you've ate for the last 30 years. I've had to find a way to control that, because, like I said, I suffer from PTSD, and I have anxiety, and I have sleep disorders. And the number one way I learned to control a lot of those complications, or at least minimize them, was through nutrition. And once I figured that out, I thought I found the fountain of youth. I was like, oh my God, I can sleep more than 8 hours? No way. So it's important that we understand how intricate it is. And I want to touch bases on how people look at how do they construct their nutrition? Okay, how do I choose my nutrition? What do I know what's good? How do I know what's good? How do I know that what you're telling me is true? Why the other things that I read in the internet? You know? So it's very important when I talk about nutrition. I 100% need the client to understand that they need to know themselves. In order for us to have a good communication, a good interaction, a good flow of information when it comes to what you need and how I can help you, you need to know yourself a bit more.
That's
the
truth.
And then most people are like, well, I should be eating like this because this is what my family ate. No, that's not how it works. Or I read that the keto diet is the best diet to maintain protein and high mass muscle, and that's what I should be doing. If you don't know anything about your own biological state,
right?
Which is important that everybody, it's very important that people, if you're watching this, remember this. You are an individual biological system, completely individual. You are not like anybody else, not even like the parents who made you. Right? You are completely just different than everybody else. Okay, you need to address you by you, of you by you. Okay. So when people ask me, like, well, what's the best way? And, and I tell them the best way is trial and error.
Yeah.
It's trial and error. And I know people don't want to go through that. They don't want to go through that, that struggle, because they're like, well, I've already been eating bad for 30 years. It's like, well, take 2 years to figure it out and get it right. And, or continue to live, like you've been living for the last 30 years. Now there's people that are going to say, well, I should be doing this by my activity level. And there's a lot of things that come into play how you choose your nutrition. And one of the most controversial ones, but I think it's important to understand. I'm not saying that you should follow the concept of this. And the reason why I don't think you should follow is because there's still a study that has not been peer evaluated. And because it hasn't been peer evaluated, it doesn't really have concrete, value in the medical community. And because of that, you should take that in consideration. But you should definitely read the information some of these scholars have put together. That's not going to hurt you.
Right.
So one of those controversial ways is to understand your blood type. So blood type nutrition, what is my blood type, in an essence, should be taken in, because my blood type is at its highest point it's optimized. My blood type optimizes my body because it's able to, break down this type of specific nutrition, this specific intake, right? So just to give you a few examples of what those blood types are. 1 second here. As far as when it comes to the oldest ones, the basic blood types. So we got type O. All right, type O should essentially, due to the studies, should be high protein foods, eat lots of wheat, seafood, kelp, red meat, broccoli, spinach, lots of, and avoid dairy. If you're a type O, you should be avoiding dairy, and that includes dairy products with bread dairy products. Okay? So that's essentially with this is what you should be eating. You should have a high protein intake, lots of red meat, lots of high protein nutrients when it comes from the greens, but not dairy protein like nuts. Nuts full of dairy. It could be a dairy. Walnuts make milk. So it's how your body synthesizes that people neglect. They're like, well, I'm lactose intolerant, but I still have issues. That's because you eat nuts, the specific nuts that you eat, or walnuts, or cashews. Your body is synthesizing that into calcium.
Interesting.
Yep. That's very good.
So, and then as we go really quickly with type A, you should be eating fruit, vegetables, very, very light. If you're a type A, which is I'm a type A, you should be eating a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, lean proteins like turkey, seafood, very clean food eating. And you should avoid Soy, you should avoid wheat, corn, because these specific products will start to develop kidney problems for somebody who is type A, essentially, you know. And type B, real quick, type B, you could have a diverse diet. You're like the best of like O and A put together. You know, you could have a diverse balance of, you know, seafood, red meats, vegetables, high protein intakes from your vegetables. But you definitely should avoid eggs and chicken. Peanuts, chicken, and eggs you should avoid as a type O, essentially. Like I said, essentially. But as we move on through the process of how your body, you know, synthesizes the nutrition, we need to look at how these blood types, or essentially how we as people start to, you know, how our chemistry starts to truly take effect in our brain, you know. And the way you think about that, essentially, it's simple. And they make this example all the time. If you bought a brand new Mercedes, right, and you went to the gas station and you put 87 gas on it, how long do you think that vehicle is going to last you? It's really that simple. It's really that simple. Now, I'm not saying that I don't understand the socioeconomic problems that we all live in. Okay. And not only that, but we're not even going to talk about how the pricing of agricultural products are at this time. We're not even going to go into that. But to talk about the socioeconomic issues, it is a thing. You know, we can't always say like, you know what, I'm going to Whole Foods. Mm-hmm. Not to say that Whole Foods doesn't have the best food. Okay, I'm not promoting Whole Foods at all. But you know, we essentially think because they're priced higher that they have a higher quality. Right? I see what you're saying. You know what I mean? We're like, oh, well, I'm not really eating the right peppers unless I'm buying them from Trader Joe's. Because Trader Joe's is farm to table. Do you know it's farm to table? Do you know that?
Wow.
You know? How do you know that? Did you go walk the farm yourself? Mm-hmm. Did you see the truck come in stamped with the farm table, you know, product? No. No. The only way you can eat from farm to table, the only way that you can truly eat optimized is for you to buy from farmers, local farmers. Okay. That's the only way. Farmers, you can be like, hey, I want to stop by this weekend and just check out your patch. You can talk to them about what goes into the soil, what kind of fertilizers that they take, you know, what kind of time it's taking, when will you have the next crop? And essentially, these are the things that change our chemistry within our brain. Very quickly, can you take, you know, somebody who is optimized nutritionally and you take them away from that habit of eating that specific way, and you can see the cognitive levels just drop. They start becoming less productive. They start, you know, in a sense of way, becoming more, having anemic conditions where they're always want to sleep and recover because their nutrition is not optimized. Right. And we're not even going to talk about the energy level, but let's talk about the real mental health issues. Let's talk about the depression that Dr. Davis talked about, the anxiety levels, you know, the levels of complete isolation. I start becoming isolated because you actually don't know how to deal with the problem, and you start swallowing it. It's like the problem starts to swallow. You become the center of this problem.
That's right.
And nutrition, it will play a great part on that. You know, nutrition will play a part that you would heal your body from the inside out, essentially, which is the reason, again, why I changed my life, you know, to this lifestyle, because I needed a complete change. I needed a way to heal my body from the inside out. I knew that therapy alone couldn't do it. I knew that just me working it out on my own couldn't do it. You know, you need a complete balanced system. Just like your nutrition in your body needs to be balanced. For lack of better words, the crutches in your life also need to be balanced. You know, your therapy needs to be there, your physical exercise, your mental and spiritual, you know, awareness and exercise should be there. Your nutrition should be there. And all these things combined is what gives you an optimized life, an optimized view of things, an optimized way of living. You know, and people get this confused. Okay, don't get this confused. This is balance. Okay, this is a balance. This is a balance. This is a balance. This, find your balance. Some people need more therapy than they do help with nutrition. That is their balance.
Yes.
Find your balance, and find your balance by, like I said, trial and error. Trial and error starts like this. Take away everything, processed sugars. And when I say everything, I mean the things that you already know are not good for you. Processed sugars, heavy dairy, you know, heavy non-wheat products, you know, like white breads, white rice, you know, take all these things away from your body, right? And just eat very clean, very simple. And when I mean simple, it's like, don't think about it. Put the meal in your body.
Yeah.
Brown rice, a little bit of like spinach with cucumbers and maybe tomatoes or whatever. And keep it simple. Stay away from meat. Do that for 2 weeks. Introduce the first item that you would normally eat before that, and tell me how far you went down. Just tell me. I guarantee you're going to feel it within 2 days. Within 2 days, you're going to know, you know what, today I'm irritable as heck. Or you know what, I just feel groggy. I feel like my body's still in bed. You know? So these are the things that we need to look at, and we need to look at it more within our community. The Black and Brown community completely dismisses this as important. You know why? Because we got to go to work. We got to pay the bills. I got to worry about getting shot just going to the damn bus stop. You think I'm worried about my mental health?
That's right.
I'm worried about my life.
Everything.
Yeah. You know, that's the least important thing in our community's mindset when it comes to the balance of how nutrition affects you or how your mental health affects you. That's the last thing.
Right.
And just to close it off, I would like for people to get to the point of knowing what does nutrition mean for you? Like, ask yourself, what does it mean for you? You know, and if nutrition is an important part in your life to the point where you know that you need help, we are here to help you. We're here to help you. We're here to guide you. All right. There's an enormous community. This is the reason we're having this panel. There's an enormous community of people who are willing to provide you service. We're here to help you. We're here to support you. And I promise you that if I can't help you, I know somebody who can.
Yes.
Thank you, Victor. That was amazing. Like, I learned so much from both of you guys so far. I'm like, wow. I'm still digesting the blood type thing because I never.
Oh my God!
I didn't want to go too much because it gets deep. It gets deep, you know. But it's definitely something worth looking at. You know, worth looking at to have an understanding. And then knowing yourself, you know, knowing yourself.
Absolutely. Now, again, we're opening up for any impromptu questions right now before we transition to the last discussion led by Bailey. But I do have a question also for you, Victor.
Okay.
You mentioned, you mentioned about sourcing your food from local farmers.
Yes.
That was so good.
I hear that conversation pretty often, but I also hear that people don't know where to even start, where to look.
Correct.
Farmers markets, like Mike said, is really good. Do you have any other resources for how to connect with farmers, how to find them? What's the process for, you know?
I'm like, yes.
Yes, I'm so happy you asked.
Comes the plug-in. So, yes. So I understand the disparities that might come with trying to switch your lifestyle from, you know, the convenience of going to the grocery store to outsourcing. And just know that when you start outsourcing, you need to outsource from several people. Not every farmer grows everything, you know. So outsourcing that helps not only the small business, but it helps you, in the fact that you're intaking and sourcing from a great source. You're intaking good product. So there is a Facebook group called Black Farmers of America. It's on Facebook, so I encourage you guys to join the group. And within the group, you have farmers from all over the United States, and you can specify and look through the farmers in Florida, definitely within your area. Now that they're not going to have every farmer, but it is a great source and a great place to start. And we have farmers that do specific things, like they only do hemp or they only do botanicals. And you have, cattle farmers, you have dairy farmers, you have, egg farmers, chickens. Everybody has their own thing, and you can start sourcing from there. Another great way to start doing that is by going to your local farmers market. Mm-hmm. Now, I wouldn't trust all the local farmers markets. I know a lot of the produce guys that sell at the farmers market, and a lot of those guys just buy from larger entities. We're going to leave away names, but they buy from larger entities whose sourcing we don't know. Right. That's the only difficult. That's the only the only bad thing is that we don't know the sourcing. Yeah. But if you find somebody who has a farm, an urban farm or an actual farm, I would definitely start making that connection. Now, if they're just selling, I would stay away from it personally. Mm-hmm. So sourcing is a very important thing, because if you think about it, you can eat a piece of beef in New Zealand and never have the issues you do if you eat a piece of beef here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay? Yeah.
So it's not the product. It's the convenience of the product and the sourcing of the product. America is known to mass produce. You're not actually living. You're not actually working and living and earning a living if you don't have a piece of meat in your plate at night when you go to dinner.
That's the American dream.
Yeah.
You better have a plate.
Right.
You're not successful unless that T-bone is on that plate. Mm-hmm. It can't be a salad. No.
That's not a meal.
Yeah, that's not a meal.
Yeah.
So that's another great way, the farmers markets. And here comes my plugin. So I am currently developing and putting together a online farmers markets. There are several already online. There are several already in the area. But I am sourcing from only Black and Hispanic farmers, which we are very little. That is why I'm sourcing. We're a very, very, very small community of Black farmers in the West Orlando area or Central Florida area. We're very little. So I'm sourcing from them. And we have that up and running here on the beginning of January. So the way this will work is that we'll have all the products that each farm has. And you select your product, we'll collect it, put it in a bag or a box, and you can either pick it up or we could deliver to you on a specific date. So we'll have an ordering open from, let's say, Monday all the way to Thursday night. You can order, and then on Friday we'll deliver all the packages of all the food. And then as we get bigger, we'll have more consistent deliveries where we could do deliveries 3 times a week, 4 times, 5 times a week.
Wow, that's cool. And what's the name of that again, Victor?
That is going to be called the VidaPür Farmers Market.
Nice. All right. So I'll make sure to post that. Everybody who's watching, everybody who's joined, make sure you join our Black Orlando Tech, aka Bot Facebook group. I'm going to make sure I put that information along with, the other information that our other panelists shared tonight inside that group. So thank you again for that, Victor.
Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for that presentation. Now, the time is beating us, but we are going to close this thing out. We're going to close this thing out with Bailey Brinson, who's going to help us to learn how to control our mind movement, which is so amazing. This guy is going to be a treat. So, Bailey, take it away. Thank you for joining us. Take it away.
I'm super excited to be here. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing? Hey. Yeah, shout out to Dr. Sheila and Victor. Phenomenal information. Thank you all so much. You got my brain already turning. Like seriously, Dr. Sheila, I grew up in Orlando, Florida, Mercy Drive, Florida, right? I grew up in one of those tough environments that I didn't know that I was experiencing trauma as I grew up, right? Fights, gunshots all the time. I knew I couldn't go to a certain convenience store because my mom told me I couldn't because I was threatened to get killed, like on the way there, like just different things going on, right? Victor thinking about like nutrition. I grew up eating Pop-Tarts, eggs,
cereal. Everybody ate cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh yeah,
sugar baby. Come on, listen. I was a sugar baby on the milk. What I was on the good milk, real hard.
Okay.
So all of these different things that we're talking about today, I personally experienced. I'm thinking about like my very first time realizing that I had depression and anxiety. I was in college. And I had my head football coach told me that I was never going to be a Bulldog, that I would never play there, right? They threatened to take my scholarship. So going through that whole journey, I realized that I was actually going through a state of depression, right? Trying to prepare for it. But learning that, going through that whole process, I came out, wind up being a starting DB. So that prepared me, right, for the next part of my life, right? Which was I was training for the NFL and I found out I had Crohn's disease, right? So we talk about, at first that was a mental attack, right? And so a mental attack. Oh man, I thought that was bad. And then I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So my body got affected, right?
A biological effect.
That's about and so you think, oh man, mental, that's hard. And then you get hit with the body and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do about it? How do I heal myself? Right. You hear about depression. And so I stumbled on to yoga. Right. I was like, how can I heal myself? The doctor told me on my last day of 14 days and 14 nights after having about 4 feet of my intestines pulled out of my body, that I would be back in the hospital in 5 years. He said, 5 years, you'll be back to get another surgery.
Wow.
And so afterwards, I really had to sit down, and I heard Victor say something, know thyself, right? Know your blood type, and know your body, right? So I went to study and I sat down and I did my own personal research. And I think that if you listen to everyone, we're all advocating, hey, go and get some help, right? Sit down and study for yourself. Take the time to find out about your personal health. And that's what my talk is about today, is yoga and your mental health. Okay, so yoga helped me overcome depression, anxiety, and have a new respect for my body, right? For what I put in my body. And I fell in love when they talk about mindset stuff is yoga philosophy, right? And one of those yogic philosophies is, and y'all seen it before, but you might not have known how to actually apply it. Might say, see no evil. You heard that before?
Oh yeah.
Hear no evil. You heard that before?
Oh yeah.
Speak no evil. You heard that before?
Oh yeah.
But see, all of these things play an effect on our minds, on our consciousness, right? So where attention goes, energy flows. You're maximizing those things, right? So I'm becoming, when I got into yoga, I became more aware of what I saw, right? What I let into my mental sphere, right? I became more aware of what I listened to, my ears, right? What went into my brain. And watch this. It said speak, but things work in reverse to watch what you put in your body. Right. I became aware of that, right? Because like Victor said, after I became a plant-based eater and I started eating right, I had a flashback. I was like, I'm gonna try steak and cheese sub. I love
I've had that. We've had that. Man,
I had a flashback. So I went back and I had to see the cheesesteak sub. And just like he said, my energy level went down. I got depressed again. I was sad. My stomach, my system was off. Someone right. But like he said, through trial and error, right? You learn how your body works in your system. So let's talk about yoga for a minute, right? Let's talk about yoga. What is yoga? Yoga means union, to connect with source. You're going to connect your mind and your body. See, we started off talking about mental health, right? And Victor said that your physical body and what you put into your body, right, is connected. They're all one, right? So yoga is to create union between the two.
All right.
Okay.
Get it, Bailey. Come on now, Bailey. Preach now.
Okay. So we do that through 3 different ways. The first way is through breath and breathing. The second way is through movement, right? Physical exercise. And the third way is through being still. So we're going to practice this in a little bit, but I just wanted to set a basis for where we're going and how we're actually going to flow, right? So, but I want to go back to talking about the mind, right? I want to know through the group chat, everybody on Facebook, I want to know if you believe that you are mind, body, and soul. Do you believe that you're mind, body, and soul?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, most people will say yes, I agree. We got some answers coming through in the chat. You got some people saying yes, they agree. Watch this though. That is not correct.
Oh.
That is a back. I got you, Big. I got you.
Break it out now.
I got you. That is a backwards philosophy. When you say you're a mind, body, and soul, right? You're saying that you are your mind, you are your body, and you have a soul. But the truth is, or my truth, all right, from the paradigm that I'm operating, is that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, right? So that human experience gives us a body with a mind that is the mechanism tool, right? It's used to operate the body, but we're spiritual beings first. Right. So why is this so important? When you place that higher awareness on your spiritual self, your soul, whatever higher power you subscribe to, whatever you call it, right? And just to give you an idea what the higher power does, right? So the higher power makes your eyes blink. Oh, see, you're not consciously blinking your eyes. Oh man, you cut your hair and your hair grow back. You don't think to grow your hair back. It just does it on its own. It's your natural self, right? It's your subconscious mind, your spirit self. You get a cut, you don't think to grow, to heal yourself. It just does it on your own. So it's a higher part of yourself, a higher level of thinking, right? That I want you all to tap in and tune into, because in that place, from that place, you're already healed. You're already whole. You're already healthy.
Nice.
Right? Right?
Nice. Yeah.
Right?
All right.
So then now we start. Now we want to reverse that paradigm. So now we're souls and we have mind bodies. They're one, not a mind and a body. You have a mind body. How do they work together, right? So you saying mind body. I hear what you're saying, but the way that I like to teach, I don't want you to believe nothing I'm saying. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Don't believe what I'm saying. Just put it to the test. And I give you an experiment right now how you can put it to the test. Your mind and body are one. Slump your body over. Just slump over. Just slump down. And we're just going to sit here with our body slumped. Dr. Sheila, how's your energy? How do you feel with your body slumped over like this?
Low. You know, low energy, just zapped in a way.
Zap, right. Now sit up straight. Maybe you just lift your chin up. Just 2.5, just a look, just lift your chin just a little bit higher.
Yes.
Victor, how you feel with your chin up high, brother? How you feel?
Regal.
Regal, yeah. He got the purple on the match. Yes, I love it. I love it. Our minds and bodies are one, right? So when we're practicing yoga, we're actually lifting our bodies, which lifts our spirit or our consciousness or our minds.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm laying it all out, right? So you're tapping into your soul self. You're learning to direct your mind, right? You're becoming aware of the thoughts that you're having.
Mm-hmm.
You're becoming aware of the things that you're putting in your body. Why do you want to become aware of the thoughts that you're having? Because your mind like to play tricks on you. See, your mind creates time.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind creates time. And time only exists in the past, and that's when you're sad.
Mm-hmm.
Or the future is when you're anxious, right? That's when you get the anxiety. You're thinking about what's going to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But where you can experience peace is in the present.
Mm-hmm.
So throughout this practice that we're getting ready to do right now, I'm going to bring you all to a practice to close this out. I want you to practice being present. So many of us are working on our desks and on our laptops and from home, the entrepreneurship lifestyle. Dr. Sheila, when you was talking and you're talking about the depression and the dark part of being an entrepreneur, you are right.
Mm-hmm.
You got to learn how to put in your own pauses or your own breaks.
Right.
So we're about to do that right here and right now. So what's the first thing you do when you enter this earth or this planet? What's the very first thing you do?
You breathe.
You breathe.
What is the last thing you cry?
What's the last thing you do when you leave?
You breathe. Your last breath.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in between the time you were born and the time you leave is a dash. How often do we pay attention to our breath and our breathing?
Mm-hmm.
Not unless we're in distress.
And not unless you're in distress and it brings you into the present moment. But with your present pressed in the present.
Right.
This isn't a peace present.
Yeah.
Right? So our breath is the gateway, the key to opening up your door to peace.
Mm-hmm.
The proper way to yogic breathe is in through your nose and out through your nose. You're exercising more control with your yogic breath, right? You're consciously inhaling through your nose,
Mm-hmm.
and you're consciously exhaling through your nose. You're becoming more self-aware. So we're going to practice just centering our breath and breathing right here, right now. We're beginning this yogic practice. So you want to sit up straight. Maybe you imagine you grab your belly button and you zip it up.
Mm-hmm.
You put your feet down flat. And one of the great things about yoga is great to smile.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to smile. It feels good for your body. All right. So we're going to just take some time to breathe. So we're going to inhale through our nose and exhale out our nose. Maybe you stop staring at the screen and just stare out beyond the screen, point out in front of you, and just focus. Inhale and exhale. Great job. We're going to take 2 more breaths. And exhale. On this last breath, see if you can follow how far down your breath goes. Inhale and pay attention to the air coming in your nose. And exhale. Great job. Now that we have taken some breath and breathing, taken some time to center ourselves, let's set an intention. You might bring our hands heart centered in the middle, might keep them on your knees, whatever you feel, right? Maybe you close your eyes and you set an intention, your purpose and my hope, it is my outcome at the end of this practice, that you all leave happier, stronger, and healthier. What is your intention for yourself? If you're practicing with us, maybe you say it out loud, maybe you write your comment in the chat bar. Your one word. Good. Inhale. And exhale. Hands down on your knees, palms up. And now we're going to connect our breath with our breathing. We're going to inhale up and bring one of our hands and touch our shoulder. We're going to exhale and bring our other hand to the other side of our shoulder. Good. We're going to inhale down and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale up. Continue on your own. Inhale down and exhale down. One more. Good. Now we just connected our breath to our breathing. So you can see how your movements match your breath and breathing. And just realize that your mind cannot serve two masters at once. So as you're breathing and you're focusing on the air coming in your nose, you don't have time to think about those things that send you down a negative spiral thought path. And if you learn to focus on your intention as you are practicing, you will go up the spiral thought path. So as we continue and we close out, I got a couple more movements for you all, and then we'll close out with being still. So we're just going to stay here. We're going to inhale where we are. We're going to bring our hands together as we exhale. Inhale, both hands up overhead. Exhale and twist, taking your right hand to your left knee and taking your left hand to the back of your chair and twisting, looking behind you. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hands back up. And opposite direction. Exhale and twist. Looking at the wall back behind you. Good. We're going to do two more. So inhale, both hands up overhead. Exhale, twist opposite direction. Last one on the opposite side. Inhale, both hands up. Exhale and twist. Good. And back to center, hands up. Bring your hands together, heart center in the middle. One more movement and we're out of here. Hands back up. Exhale over to the side for a side body stretch. Now to check your alignment, right? One of the great things about yoga, you checking your alignment. Take your armpits up to your roof, to the roof. Feel the stretch more. Inhale up. Exhale over opposite side. Check your alignment. You're becoming more self-aware, creating space between your elbow and your hip. Inhale up.
Okay, Samaya, nobody's trying to make you a ballerina. Look at Samaya. Look at her. She's like, oh boy. She's like, I'm over here.
Smile. Hands together. Exhale, heart centered in the middle. And we're getting to the very most important part of our practice. Bring your hands down to your knees, which is the Savasana, right? We did the movement to connect with our breath and breathing to tire out our thinking minds, so that now when we get into Savasana or meditation, peace be still, we can get the peace and the energy. So we're going to bring our hands back on our knees, sit up straight, and we're going to follow our breath for 1 minute, closing our eyes. Here we go. Inhale. And exhale out of your nose. When you find yourself thinking, bring your awareness back to the oxygen coming in your nose as you inhale. And out of your nose as you exhale. Be sure to breathe deeply, over-oxygenate your bodies. Relax the body on your inhale, exhale. 15 more seconds. to bring your hands together, heart centered in the middle. To close out this practice, I want you to focus on your intention. What was the outcome that you were looking for? What was the result? What purpose did you set before we began? My outcome for you all is for you to wind up happier, stronger, and healthier. Now that we're focused on our intention, let's close class with a namaste, which means the divine in me respects the divine in you. Namaste.
Namaste. Love it.
Awesome.
That was
What
excellent.
an awesome session.
Yes.
Amazing.
All of you guys. Like, I am in heaven.
I'm gonna tap into Bailey. I have to go check out his sessions. This
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Like, all this information tonight has been so critical, so needed in this time. And I am grateful for each and every one of you and our audience here.
Yes.
Thanks to all who tuned in.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so
And
much.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Samaya.
In there.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is the first of many sessions that we're going to be doing, Black Orlando Tech. We are growing with our community, and we want to make sure that, mental health and wellness is it's a normal part of business, of professionalism, especially for Black people,
Yes.
So thank you for riding on this journey with us. And I couldn't have asked for a better trio. so much. And I'm going to have to scroll through everything from today. Post about it.
Yes.
But yes, thanks again for joining me. What was I going to say? To close this out, let's just give the audience a insight into how to get in contact with each one of you. So we'll start off with Dr. Sheila, and then we'll go around. Dr. Sheila?
Okay. I think I just lost. So my practice is called Breakthrough Counseling Education Center. Like I said, now we're fully telehealth. So you can reach us at breakthrough-living.com. That's our website. So we have maybe 3 or 4 therapists there. So we also, our phone number is 407-926-0319. Okay, 407-926-0319. And we would love to help you in any kind of way. Just to let you know that we are in November starting a women's group regarding relationships and trauma relationships. So that's something, if you're interested in, reach out to us.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Dr. Sheila. Victor, can we let us know how to get in contact with you?
Don't call me. Don't email me. No. No. We obviously are VidaPür Holistics. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. Through there to be VidaPür. That's VidaPür.holistics. And you can find us through all social media outlets that way. You can Google us. Google has us on their business page, and our phone number is 407-476-3086. Now, we do an array of things. We do nutrition, we do the gardening, and we're releasing our online farmers market in January, and we just finalized our first ebook, which is Old World Herbal Remedies. So herbal remedies that you could do with the things you could grow in your backyard. So make sure you guys hit us up for that. And ladies, read Women's RX. Gentlemen and ladies, read The Gut is the Second Brain.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you guys want to have some understanding, I personally think Women's RX is probably one of the most complete books about women. It comes with nutrition, emotional, physical. It combines so much information. That book I've learned so much from that book. And then gentlemen specifically, you can learn a lot more from your stomach, yes, your second gut stomach. So,
Mhm.
So really,
what was that second one, Victor?
let me just get it right because I can't get it right now. Your brain is just your stomach is second brain.
Okay.
Brain.
yes, Samaya, I'm not good with this social media thing, so I didn't even say Instagram or Facebook.
Go ahead.
We have the Facebook page is called Break the Women, and then my Instagram is Dr. Sheila D.
Yes, Dr. Sheila D. Make sure I go follow you right now.
Thank you. I'll follow you guys as well.
Yeah.
I want to say
So I just want to say thank you again. On all social media platforms, Bailey B Inspires. Bailey B Inspires. I have my book is called Look, Listen, Act. It's a 90-day devotional challenge. Next month, I'm getting ready to release my ebook called Yoga for Beginners, as well as a e-course where you can learn yoga at home on your phone or on the laptop from me. It's coming soon at the comfort of your own home. And if you ever need a host, I'm available for hire. And, thank you.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you all, and thank you to our audience, our listeners. I really hope you guys grabbed all of these gems that were dumped here tonight. These are some awesome people to keep in touch with, and it's only the beginning. So if you have any questions, feel free to send Black Orlando Tech a message. Join our Facebook group, Black Orlando Tech, aka BOT, and we will back here in, some more time, just a little bit of time, with another very cool session. So thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.